Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a somewhat blustery Friday afternoon. We got a little snow yesterday. I cleaned it up when it stopped last night after dark. A couple snow squalls today, but more snow in the forecast. You would think it was winter time. That groundhog last Sunday apparently predicted 6 more weeks of winter. So anyway, today we're going to do some, much needed, I suppose, transmission content. When I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't start with transmission work. That just kind of came as something I do a lot of and know a few things about, and was more than happy to share it with everybody because it's definitely an area of automotive repair that has a lot of mysteries, I suppose. And I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I think I've done an okay job getting through to people. Again, the internet can be a mean place, but my experience has been decent only because I put a lot of effort into making it accurate and somewhat easy to understand. Now, am I the best public speaker? Hell no. If I could do it all again and I had actually put more thought into the whole YouTube channel, I would have been very systematic, step by step. Probably would have taken a year to produce enough videos, but instead, most of them, and if you watch my channel, you already know, whatever we're working on that day, I try to, give you the thoughts in my head, and I hope it's useful. Still, I'm going to do a lot of transmission stuff, have in the past, and will always be bouncing back to it, but it's not all I do. I do all hot rod related stuff for the most part, drag racing, etc. But never wanted to be just a one-note singer, So anyway, if you're a rebuilder of transmissions and you're getting paid for it, or even doing it for other people without getting paid, it sure would be nice to have a way to test things before it left. Now, I have never had any way to test a rebuilt transmission. I worked at 2 transmission shops. We didn't have any way to test them either, other than my boss would say, just hang it in there with a bolt and try it. I'm not sure it's going to work. So, most of the time it worked out, or you get really good at diagnosing it, trying to fix it in the car, whatever. As I became, a builder of transmissions, studied how they worked, and there are ways to test it. We're going to talk about, Turbo 400 specific today, but if you research whatever transmission you're fond of, you'll find there are ways to test it. Now, ultimately, I guess you'd have a transmission dyno. We're going to segue on that for a minute. I have dreamed one up in my head. Your typical transmission dyno has a way to spin the torque converter, typically just a gas engine of some sort, or propane, I guess if you ran in a lot. But for your average guy, or above average guy, I suppose, that wanted to build his own transmission dyno at home, ow, that hurt. Feel free to take my design, because I've never seen one built the way I want to do it. What I would do, let's pretend this is the power plant here. My engine would be bolted here. Say it might be against a wall, so you're only going to access it from this side. And it usually has it looks like a frame table. I want to run one frame rail, maybe 2 side by side, over against the wall. Then they would jut back out, and there'd be a little short drive shaft and whatever brake combination you had, so you could put a little load on the transmission to, rev the engine up, put a little load on it, make it shift up through, so you could actually, feel and probably hear the shifts. The reason why I want it open is because I want my transmission on my hydraulic cart, my foot pump hydraulic table, so I can come from here, I can wheel it right over there, I can jack it up and down, in and out, easily bolt it to the back of the engine. Most of the dynos I see, they have to either use a crane or physically, manhandle the thing to get it back on the back of the engine. It's got to take the fun right out of it. I don't see any reason why you just have a offset frame rail so you could get right to the back of the engine. I think my inspiration came, if you ever worked on a beer truck or a beverage truck, they took the frame rail and they, instead of being frame rails on a truck and run them right down, they ran them together in the middle. Behind the cab, they go together, run down the middle like a spine, and then flare out again by the rear end. I'm thinking, well, if you can run it in the middle, you can run it on one side. So if you're going to build a dyno, send me pictures of how it works and how it looks. But short of that, testing the individual components, there are ways to do it. And I, again, back to my YouTube channel, I've tried really hard to get the information out to people that can use it. And a few people have appreciated that and started doing their own and sent me tools they made to make my life easier and everybody's life easier. There's a guy named Naughty Dave, N-A-U-D-Y. He has a YouTube channel. I think he's also on the DIY Turbo 400 page on Facebook, among other transmission forums. And he randomly sends me tools he made, which is pretty cool. This is to put around the direct drum. If you want to install it complete, I usually grab it with the clutches out of it. Again, all my transmission videos are in my playlist, and I've gone over it a few times, but this will allow you to clip in, kind of squeeze it together and work it in there. Pretty cool. I keep all these tools right on the top of my toolbox because my transmission toolbox is right there, and I'm working on stuff right here. This is my favorite. I started using a valve spring compressor to install the snap ring in the front pump. The stock one doesn't have as much pressure as the aftermarket springs that have more line pressure. This, it clips around the backside where the pin is. You can spin it in with your fingers or use a wrench if you have to, depending on how stiff the spring is. And it compresses it so you can hands-free answer the phone, go get your snap ring pliers, put the snap ring on it. I pop the snap ring right over that 3/8 bolt, no problem. So I don't even have to mess with that. I go ahead and put it in past the snap ring groove, and then I'll pop the snap ring over the bolt, put the pliers in it, put it right in the hole. Yes, I can't believe this. He posted this on one of the forums, and everybody says, well, I just do it with a screwdriver. I've been doing it for 40 years like that. Wonderful. So have I. But I'm okay doing it the easy way. This is genius. So, awesome. He also sent me, first he sent these in plastic, and then he made aluminum versions, still Naughty Dave right here. This simulates the center support seals. This goes in the back of your direct drum, and you blow in the hole, and you can apply it. So when I assemble a direct drum on the bench, I got the clutches in it, everything. I lube this up, slide it in where it would normally go down over the center support, blow air in the hole, and I can watch the clutch apply. Pretty simple rig. Excellent idea. Same with the forward drum. This is for your input shaft. It has a nice little handle. This simulates the seals on the back of the pump. Lube these up, put it down into the forward drum, blow in the hole, and you can watch the forward clutch apply. Pretty awesome. So that was Naughty Dave. Super nice guy. I've never met him in person, but I really appreciate what he's done for me. He's made my life easier with tools. Last summer, I met a gentleman out of Massachusetts. We kind of travel in the same circles. He goes to New England Dragway, so do I. I probably walked past him in the past, but either way, our paths crossed here in my shop last summer. He came up, I met him in person. Again, everybody I meet is just another new car friend. You can't have too many car friends. So we're now friends on Facebook. We've kept in touch. He sent me a message the other day. His name is Mark Leadham. I don't know if I said that. That's Leedham. He recently posted this test plate on definitely on the DIY Turbo, the DIY Turbo 400 page on Facebook. But he sent me this. He sent me a message last week, said he was sending me one, wanted me to test it. And we're going to test it. But what this allows you to do, because when I assemble a transmission, I always apply the rear band. I apply the intermediate clutch, the direct clutch, down through the valve body. but applying the forward clutch from the valve body through the front pump seals, from the valve body perspective, it can be done, but it's not easy. I use a little funnel that comes with a tube of sealer. Hang on. I'll cut the end off that and jam it in the valve body, and with my blowgun, try to get down into the grooves of the case to apply the forward clutch. And I also do this to apply the direct clutch. I'll jam that in the feed hole, and depending on the modifications, put my finger over the other side and blow in there. But I've always wanted to build this. I had one of these for a few other transmissions that I picked up in a machine that I bought, and I got rid of those. They were Ford transmission, but the thought occurred to me, why not make one for a Turbo 400? I do a lot of them. I don't have a way to dyno it. I do individually check the pieces, but it would be nice to know in the back of your head that everything is working up to the valve body. And if you have a manual valve body, there's not a lot of moving parts. This transmission should work. And I hate to say it out loud, but 98% of the time, they've always worked. So nobody's perfect, but I try really hard because I don't want it coming back. This will be another tool in the old arsenal to help prevent that. So to test this today, I have this poor battered transmission. I got it from a friend of mine out of a low mileage motorhome, and it is flat destroyed. Not only is the bell housing missing, the modulator is broken, the case is broken back here where they hit it with something. It's only good for its internal parts, but it was a functioning transmission. So if I strip the valve body off, bolt this baby on, we should be able to test it. So give me a minute and we'll do that. So far, so good. It fits really nice. It comes with, I believe, 8 5/16 bolts and 5 1/4-inch bolts. Quickly, he gives you a nice chart to go by. A couple things included that I may not have thought of. My concern is the forward clutch. Again, this is testing through the back of the pump seals into the forward drum. This is when I would try to get down into this passage with a modified RTV nipple. And I've been successful at that when I've wanted to test it. This makes it a lot easier. So you get first, second, or intermediate through the center support bolt hole. Third gear, in stock form, if you're not dual fed and the passage has been plugged, you got to put a finger over one side or the other when you blow in the opposite hole. This is the rear band. Same thing I would do with my blowgun without it, but it's just more convenient. You're going to do it all at once. This is the exhaust for the rear band. In this case, this transmission has oil in it, so I'm going to cover it with a rag. I guess in a perfect world, nothing's going to come out, but just in case. And the forward band, they've included a hole for that too. Blow in here. This is the exhaust. And I don't expect a whole lot of dramatic stuff, but it was not whistling air out of the exhaust in both cases. The circuit is probably good. In case of the rear band, you can actually see it nudge the output shaft. So let me turn on my air, get my safety glasses, be right back. Here we go. I'm going to use my safety rag because I don't really want to get wet. First gear shouldn't be a problem. Hope you can hear that. Works good. Second, right up through the hole. It's good. My air compressor's got 175 pounds. Pretty much the operating PSI of the transmission. I don't need that much air. I just didn't bother to turn it down. So third gear, we're going to plug one side. Doesn't matter which one you do. Rear band. I can see it moving my output shaft. Nothing come out the exhaust. I probably should have plugged that with my face in the way, but nothing came out, so we're good. And the front band, which is just manual second gear braking. Not something I normally test. Pretty much foolproof, but I guess if it doesn't whistle out the hole, we're good. Yep. Just like that. I think it's nice that we still live in a world where there's kind people out there that are actually thoughtful, trustworthy, etc. All the things a good Boy Scout is. So the first tools I showed you was Naughty Dave. He has a YouTube channel and he's also on the forums. And I don't know if he's looking to sell his tools or not, but you can ask him. Mark Leadham, definitely listed last week on the TH400 site, the DIY Turbo 400 page on Facebook. He has the list of posting showing this rig and his contact information. So if you want one, they're not big money. And with this, what we just did, now we know that the transmission hydraulically is ready to work. So if it doesn't work, it has to be a control issue. So that's it for today. The sun just came back out. Almost time for the school bus. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.